And welcome back. This is Dan French here with LV Home Experts, the show. I'm in studio with Chuckits Crusoe, Cash Flow, Chuckits,
if y'all want to check out
Simply
that merch.
Vegas. Also with Brett Jenny.
Yeah.
What up?
What up?
What up?
All right, guys. So let's talk about VA buyers, and we're talking about the housing market, some of the challenges. You know, I talk a lot about people that call in about VA buyers, and call me to talk to me about VA buying, and a lot of people are out of state. A lot of people are always calling in, you know, and there's nothing wrong with it, but there's always people that are, you know what, I got a great credit score, I got a great job, but what I don't have is I don't have money for closing costs, and so I can definitely help with that. I know you as a real estate agent can negotiate seller closing costs, but the biggest thing I get is this. So a lot of out-of-state people want to move to Vegas, and the biggest challenge that they have is they're trying to move here, or they're trying to stay in California working with the same job, but then move here and not have a job set up. And really and I understand they want to use their VA, and they're like, hey, I want to go buy a house, and I'm going to move there in a few months or whatever it is. At the end of the day, it's still a second home, because you got to be here present unless your job tells you that you don't have to be present in the state that you work. So I think I get that a lot with veterans and people in general. You know, a lot of times they have transfer orders. You know, so a lot of people that we work out of state, you got to get that transfer order. You got to get all your ducks in a row.
So it has to be a primary residence.
Well, that's what VA is.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, and the other thing too is people have a misconception that you can only get one VA loan when that's not true.
Oh, you can get two?
You can get two.
What about three?
But it's the eligibility.
Okay.
Whatever eligibility you have left over.
What does that mean?
So there's a certain percentage of eligibility that you get.
Yeah.
And if you buy one home and you use a portion of that, for instance, if you had $200,000 home that was in another state and use $50,000 of that eligibility, you can move to, you know, another state or another area, but you only have so much eligibility left. Now you use $50,000.
So you have 150 left, basically.
No, not 150 exactly, but you just have eligibility. So let me give you an example. If you wanted to go buy a $350,000 home here, you might only qualify for 310.
Yeah.
Because now you have some of that eligibility tied up in another property.
Gotcha.
So it's just all about what the VA is giving you and where's your eligibility at. So anyways, you know, going back to some of these questions, I know we're getting a lot of questions from
Fire it
people. Brett, you got a question over here?
So, question number one. Where was it? I just had it up too.
Okay.
Where was he?
We'll talk about that question you just told me, and we'll talk about the credit situation. You know, with them, if they sell their house.
Yeah, so he basically said, I wonder if I sell a house, would your credit score go up because you no longer have a debt?
And it would over time, but everybody has to understand that you're still building credit by having those on-time payments. So you're looking at it like, okay, what if you had your house for 4 or 5 years? Now you've got a nice, strong trade line.
Yeah.
Okay? So you sell that house, boom. Now you got, you know, 200,000, whatever it is, freed up in debt.
Yeah.
So right away your score's going to drop, but overall it's going to go up. So in the very short interim, it's going to
weird. It drops, but then it goes
back
up.
Correct. Because now it's like, oh, boom. You know, all of a sudden that strong payment history is gone. But then you look at it 7-8 months later, all of a sudden you're solid again.
If you guys have any questions regarding real estate or financing, go ahead and dial 702-257-5396. If you are just getting into the housing market, visit lvhomeexperts.com.
What other questions you guys have over there? Brett?
Another one says, how much do they usually ask for closing costs? So
Well, I think that's different because for the most part, it's 3%. You know, I think that when you're doing a refinance, we just talked about that, it's a little bit less, obviously.
Yeah.
So I think when you look at it, it's usually 2.5% to 3%. And we went over what those three things are. It's your impounds, taxes and insurance. You got what the loan or whatever the loan company or the lender's charging you to do the loan.
And I think that's one of the most important things here. If you're a new buyer, you know, you definitely want to shop the lender and ask for a lending estimate if they don't provide one.
Right.
And you want a worksheet fee because you want to see exactly what they are charging you, because some lenders out there could charge you origination fee, underwriting fee. So you have to take a look at the fees, and that's where you would start. Don't really be so focused on interest rate. It does play a part. However, you're never locked into an interest rate until you go under contract, right?
Well, for the most part, I mean, you can get into a new build and you can actually lock your rate in 6 months, even to a year out, which people don't understand that.
Yeah.
And there is a charged fee for this for the most part, but if
Who
you
wants to pay for it?
yeah, exactly. I mean, It's just like I have a refinance going on right now,
Yeah.
and it's like, well, can I pay my impound separate? You can, but the bank's going to charge you a fee, and you don't get that money back.
Yeah.
So the bank's the one making money. Why do they do that?
Mm-hmm.
They do that because they want to take the risk out of your hands.
Mm-hmm.
They want to control, and that's what's happening. So, can you pay your taxes and insurance separate? Absolutely. What other questions we got over here, guys?
Just another one was, how much is an acre of land in Henderson? And that,
That's a very good question. The last time I looked at it, I think an acre right now is going for about $380,000.
Wow.
So if you're planning on building a home, it probably doesn't make sense right now, just due to the fact that you got to buy the land. Also, you have to check if sewers ran, electrical, all the utilities are ran, and that could be pretty pricey too, depending how far the utilities are.
just to get the infrastructure to get it going.
Yeah.
Is gonna.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what's going on right now too is I want to talk a little bit about this. We're talking about VA buyers, and there's a lot of VA streamlines.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of people that are looking to refinance their home.
Yeah, there's a lot of refinancing.
lot of
it's
them.
crazy.
I'm going to tell you.
Matter of fact, if y'all want to refinance, call my dude down.
Lowest rates ever. Right?
Well,
In the
since
industry.
2012, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, so you're looking at it, and you're like, well, how big is this going to be?
Yeah.
And we're all just thinking, well, it's going to start to spike. Mortgage applications are going crazy.
For
They should be.
refinances.
I know.
I'm locking rates, you know.
1.2?
Why don't you have some free money? Just
We're slanging loans over at Guarantee.
Hey, slanging loans.
Yeah,
If
right.
you guys
Rock
want to
the
get
home.
financing,
slang and rock.
you guys want to get financing, go to lvhomeexperts.com. There's a drop-down menu on financing. That's how you're going to reach Dan. Financing is great right now. Rates are unbelievable.
Rates are
crazy.
great,
I
man.
can't
You know,
believe it.
coronavirus is really contributing to that. I want to say, you know, my company
Yeah.
has taken on, I believe this was the memo that came out, more refinance applications in this first quarter than we took all of last year.
Yeah, why wouldn't you? Rates
It's
are great.
crazy right now. So
I locked in at 3.2%.
I know it's
It's
crazy.
still better than that.
So anyways, refinances are going on right now. VA buyers, if you're more than 210 days out of your first payment,
Yeah.
now's the time to look to
Is
refinance.
that the requirement?
That is the requirement.
One call, that's all.
That's it.
Can we patent that?
You like that one?
I don't think so.
Did
no,
Dune Man already do that?
I don't know about that one.
Let's not plug it. Let's
One
not-
call, that's all.
Let's not plug them.
No, that's right. But I'm telling you right now, it's funny because when you talk about people coming in, no appraisal,
Yeah.
right? And the big thing for everybody is how long does it take for the appraisal to get done on a VA loan?
Yeah.
No appraisal for that. So a lot of opportunity for that, guys. lvhomeexperts.com. Go there, check out Chuck's website. A lot of information there. So, you know, going through the process with these VA buyers, you know, I think a lot of people, we said, come from out of state. And we really want to kind of massage this VA situation because I think a lot of people, like we talk about, don't really know what's going on in Vegas. And I feel that with these new laws that have passed, you have a lot of opportunity for people that are in that $600,000, $700,000 range that they thought maybe they weren't in there. We got a couple people right now that we're working that are at that $600,000 or $700,000 price point, right, Chuck?
Yeah.
And they're all veterans and they're just out getting homes now. And usually, you know, the first question I got was, hey, when you approved me, this was approved last year because it's a new home build. Do we qualify for that new product or that program? I was like, absolutely. You know, now you have the ability where you don't have to put that money down. That's huge.
Hey, Brett, let me ask you this. Natasha says, what do you think about Henderson, the home value?
I saw that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it is going up.
Do you? Really? Why?
For the simple fact that people want to live in Henderson. It's ranked as one of the top places to live. Number two, jobs are booming like crazy.
Yeah.
And I don't see signs of anything slowing down. So as long as we have jobs that are coming here, the economy's still going well. How many people here are moving from Cali?
I don't know.
So Summerlin or
100,000.
Henderson, yeah.
It's 100,000 last
Yeah,
year.
yeah, yeah. So I think they are.
Well,
Absolutely.
let me ask you this. If you had to pick one, and this is for you personally,
Sure.
would you rather live in Summerlin or Henderson?
Summerlin.
What about you?
I live in Summerlin right now.
I would rather live in Henderson.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? Tell me why.
I'm going to tell you why. So Henderson has a more of established, not so bougie. You can feel like you could be a little bit more.
Ooh.
Oh, it's true.
Oh, you're
You
saying
could
I'm
be a little
snob,
bit.
Dan?
You could be a little bit more yourself, and you don't have to walk around thinking that it's still upper class. It's still very elegant, very quality. But I feel like when you're down there in Summerlin, it's like you're trying to live up with the Joneses a little bit.
I feel like Henderson has certain spots where Summerlin doesn't.
Yeah.
That's good debate.
That is a good debate. That's a real good debate. Yeah.
So why do you like Summerlin?
I mean, well, personally, I do a lot of trail running, so I love that it's right next to Red Rock National Canyon.
Oh, that's a good point.
You know, and then once they completed downtown
As you
Summerlin,
see, he doesn't do any running.
Dan, what you want to go out tomorrow morning?
No, I got
Rock,
some. I got
watch
some
that sun
things.
go up.
I got some things going on tomorrow.
No.
It's called sleeping.
Sleeping's for suckers.
You gotta have some fun, guys. On the
Yeah,
radio.
of course. For me personally, I love that it's right next to Red Rock National Canyon. Once they completed downtown Summerlin, that really brought it together. They brought in the baseball stadium there.
Yeah.
The Golden Knights hockey facility is there. They completed up, Wolfgang Puck restaurants, really good shopping, family environment. They have movie nights for families on the weeks or weeknights. They have yoga, whatever it is. It's just it really brought that whole community together.
Yeah, I think Henderson to me though
It's just beautiful aesthetically.
So I used to live right off the Eastern and like Horizon Ridge towards like St. Rose Parkway.
Yep.
Yeah.
You go down that area,
They're
there's
building like crazy, don't they?
Well, they're building like
Yeah.
crazy. There's nothing that they don't have there.
Yeah.
Like I can literally like go from one shopping center to the next shop, and it's like everything you could think of. And I think that's maybe the reason why is because when I came out here from California,
Yeah.
I'm a little biased probably because when I got there, I was like, man, they got everything here. You kind of put your roots
Well,
in there, you know?
They do, and I mean, believe me, I've lived in Henderson as well. I've lived in Green Valley. I've lived at the top of Anthem.
Yeah.
And for the last 6 years, and the funny thing is, when I lived in Henderson, everybody was like, "You need to move to Summerlin. You need to move to Summerlin. Summerlin." And I was like, "What's so great about Summerlin? Whatever."
Right.
Because I liked being in Henderson.
Yeah.
And Henderson is just fine. But once I moved to Summerlin, that's it, man.
You know what? I'm gonna
That's it,
rule this
boy,
a
I'm
tie,
good.
guys. It's a tie. Okay.
We got Steve on
I
line
don't like
one
the
more.
tie. I just want to win. So Summerlin.
Let's take Steve's call. Steve, are you there? Hello, Steve.